Can you hear me? Calling in my colleague Nicky now. Let's see here. Nicky. Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Oh, but my headphones aren't working. Anyway, it's not a big deal. Hi.
Hi. Better now?
Hi. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Well, good
Yeah,
morning.
good morning. Good morning. It's summer. It's very hot. It's crazy hot here. Insanely hot. And it's like you can't even focus. It's so hot. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you must
So,
cool down in the ocean then.
exactly. Yes. In the sea. In the sea. I went yesterday. It was really good. I swam for quite a long time. So, yeah. And I think you did your morning swim, right? Before today's
Yeah,
session.
yeah. Yeah, it's a nice start of the day.
Yeah.
And Thursday mornings is training day. So yeah.
Okay, great. Awesome. Stream through today. Well, first let me introduce you. You're coming into my temple this week. For audience members, listeners who don't know Nicky Koopmans, Nicky is a house healer and a geomancer, and she helps people to transform their homes into their personal power place by working with the energies of their home, of their garden, and help them to create a resilient, healthy, connected relationship with their homes, so that it can actually, right, serve them, to help them to accomplish their visions, their goals, their dreams, and to heal on a deep level. So this is Nicky. She's amazing. And we've been doing our Instagram live conversations for quite a long time now, and always, new things stream through organically through our conversations, and we welcome all that join live, and all that listen to the replays, to share in the comments any questions that you may be having about your home, your garden, the energy of your property, or perhaps some projects that you want to birth. So, does anyone have any questions for some of you who have joined?
Yeah.
Any themes? Yeah.
Now is your chance, because it's the last one before summer break. You will have to wait until September for the next one comes up, and otherwise you have to email us to get some help.
Yeah, yeah. So you've got us.
Everyone is quiet.
Sometimes there's a bit of a delay.
Well, maybe it's a good idea that if you are thinking about, visiting other places for your summer vacation, not everybody goes on vacation, but yeah, you could, when you're there, you could connect with the energies in that new space where you are, and try to find out what is exactly different than your place at home. What do you like about that place? What do you dislike about that place? And try to give descriptions to the kinds of energies. And it could be anything. It could be that you, like me, I live in the Netherlands. It's flat everywhere, and I'm going to France for a while in the next coming weeks. And it is very different because there are mountains there. You could describe, I like this and this about the mountains, and I dislike this and this about the mountains. And give that words, because that will also train you in recognizing similar energies, because you could very well come across a mountain energy somewhere in flatlands, but you won't be able to recognize it. So yeah, just take your time when you're sitting on a terrace or in front of your tent or on your hotel balcony, just to connect, just connect and let everything stream through. Like we've been describing many ways in all the former episodes. So yeah, that could be helpful if you want to train yourself in recognizing energies.
Love it, Nikki. Yeah, it's such a good tip, you know, especially since a lot of, you know, summer does in the northern hemisphere. And sometimes, yeah, I have a client in Australia who's now on vacation, and now they're in their winter. They flew over to Bali. But to take this holiday time, this vacation time uh, to take yourself out of the day-to-day routine, right? That's what I'm hearing too, because we get so accustomed to where we're living, right? And it becomes like this almost, it's this natural extension of our body, and we often will walk through the day, go through the day without even really paying attention to the qualities, the energies of our own home or our garden. And what I love about this exercise is that by taking yourself out of your normal environment, normal day-to-day environment, you have the opportunity to bring more into the forefront these energetic qualities of places and spaces. And then with that practice, right, by tasting the flavor, different flavor of these places, whether you, like you said, you're on your hotel balcony or out on the terrace, or maybe in a piazza, in a public space in a city, to then have that awareness, that practice, and then what happens when you come back home, right? What are the new awarenesses? What are you going to notice when you come back home? I certainly, for sure, you know, whenever I go to I mean, sacred sites for sure, but not even the sacred sites, like, you know, a beautiful hotel or, you know, a lovely garden restaurant or something, right? Where you're like, oh, they did such a good job with this space, and it's you know, it really activates something in you, within you. It speaks to your soul. And whatever that quality, that energy is, you can also then bring that into your own garden, your own property, your home. I mean, places inspire us, right?
Mm-hmm.
They also inspire. Yeah.
And it's very good practice to try to describe what part of your soul it connects with. And that is maybe the most important thing, because that gives you clues about your own energy language. I cannot give you any other description. And that is different for everyone. But you are you're with someone in a same environment, so you are connected with the same qualities of energy, but it could have a totally different effect on yourself, and it could even differ if you're, for instance, in this lovely restaurant on the terrace. If you focus on the terrace alone, or the terrace with the restaurant and the kitchen, or even the whole piazza or the whole city, or even connect with the whole country, like Chutney does, it could differ very much, all the vibes, depending on the whole on you connect with. So it's, you know, if you're just sitting enjoying your glass of wine or whatever you're having, your coffee, it's fun to do that. It's just fun. See it as fun and play. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to change anything. You just have to, you know, take it in and exchange.
I think we've got a comment that came in here. From okay, I think, yeah. Do you motivate that the light and colors are brighter? Notice. This sounds like code language to me, Fenneke.
And motivate is Dutch for motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, can you?
Yeah.
I don't understand questions. The question. That the light in colors are brighter. Notice. Is this meant for us, this question?
I don't know. Maybe she can, because
Yeah.
you know, different spaces. When I lived in Switzerland, Holland is very famous about for painters and painting the clouds. And when I lived in Switzerland and I came back to visit my family here, only then I noticed the difference. And then I understood what was so special about this Dutch clouds and Dutch sky. And I've also been to Spain, where Dali lived.
Yeah.
And if you know his paintings, he has these amazing skies as well. And you really see that. It's really very, very different. And that's also a way to express an energy. And in this case, it's about painting. And I know knowledge about paintings anyway, but you can really see that. And you will only take notice if you take some time to do that and to slow down to the pace of nature.
So amazing. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, there's so many different ways of expressing the energetic qualities of place, whether it be through art, through craft, right? Through designing an interior, through creating a garden, through building a work of architecture. The women that I mentor in my one-on-one mentoring program, the architects and the designers that I mentor, are really yearning, longing, and doing it. They're birthing this their own way of expressing the energetic taste qualities of places. And what is their modality of expressing that? How do they do it? Some are expressing it through storytelling. Some are expressing it through collage and photo montages. Some are expressing it through deep meditation work, right? Some are expressing it through, you know, the unique forms of architecture that they're birthing, right? The new unique structures. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to, I think fun and joy are really the theme of today's conversation, to really play with that. You know, we've been so programmed into very rigid structures, working in conventional practices, conventional architecture, conventional design, whatever the conventional, maybe you were in the corporate world, or whatever. I mean, even art can be considered conventional in some ways. But what's the new way? What's the new way? And what's the new way of connecting with place and expressing those unique energetics?
I can imagine that if your own signature design, what you could be famous for, what is special in your kind of designs, is that anything that comes across in your trainings as well?
Yeah. Can you hear me now? There was just a bit of an internet pause there.
Yeah. You're there. Did you understand my question? Did you get that?
Well, you were talking about this kind of signature design way for architects, a design methodology. correct?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So that is actually what many creators, architects, designers who are interested in working with energetics, with spiritual truths, with the spirit of the land, with their intuition, with their feminine intuition, their goddess superpowers. I mean, I work predominantly, or I work only with women architects and designers, so that's why I'm using this language, goddess and feminine flow. But yeah, that is the point, to support them in birthing their own way of practicing, rather than their own way of expressing themselves and tuning into energies, rather than teaching them how to follow my system or follow, I mean, that is an option as well, but to follow someone else's system, to follow a certain book or guideline. Rather, you know, Nicky, you and I have different and probably similar ways of connecting with the land. We just, you know, likewise with other people, you know, some see more, some hear more, some receive words and messages more. Some need to just move their body and walk barefoot on the land. Some need to really stay still and listen and meditate. And so there's so many different shapes and forms of what that can look like. And what is the most efficient, laser precise, and fruitful for their own design process, so they're not slaving away at drawings and overworking, over depleting themselves, over pleasing, is to really tune into what is their way, their signature method. So the more that they're aligned with that, the more easeful and joyful the whole process is for them. Rather than, remember, I don't remember the coach or the guide that said this. It's like, if you're, oh yeah, it's Danielle Rema Hoffman. This is one of the women that I follow, spiritual leaders that I follow, and business coach. She's also a channel. I think she said, you know, if you're a strawberry, don't try to be broccoli, right? You know, if you're a strawberry, don't try to be a blueberry or a pineapple, right? And that's what this new world, this evolution in consciousness is asking us to really understand and awaken within us, that we're all very unique, with a very unique flavor and unique frequency, and we each have our own contribution for the whole. So,
and I'd like to add to that, if you are a strawberry, don't forget to play with the broccoli way, because it teaches you stuff.
Love it. Yeah, it teaches you stuff. Right, exactly. It's not about just like, well, this is my way and nothing, I'm not going to try anything new on. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, well, it could also help if you are open to other ways than your own way. Once you've discovered what your own way exactly is to be open-minded still, because it could happen that when you are in a different space with different kinds of energies, that it's easier to use a different method to receive information. If you are in a space and you're sitting again with your coffee on this beautiful piazza somewhere, and you try to receive information, for example, through your crown chakra or your a different one, you will receive different kinds of information, and you will also discover what your initial first go-to information point is. But if you take the time to experiment with that, you could come to a whole different kind of discovery
and understanding, right, of that place. I love that. Yeah, absolutely. So trying on new things, trying on a different hat, and allowing the moment really to inform, isn't it? I mean, the more we try to plan or force a
Yeah.
structure,
Yeah.
the more the land, the house, the space, the situation will guide you to listening to the moment for the solution.
And
Yeah.
going away from your own space will help you to do that, because you are away from the usual structures where you,
Right.
without being conscious of it, you will always take the same kind of route to your work, and there is no
Yeah. Or
route
just
each day.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's more open to play with and discover all these kinds of things, and then it's uh, um, helpful if you take notice of that and make mental notes or real notes about it, so you can take that new discovery home with you and try it in your own space.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, I was just looking at the paths that are forming. We've got a lot of like reeds. We haven't done the landscaping work of our garden yet, aside from planting fruit trees. And there are a bunch of reeds. It's like crazy. They're growing everywhere. But you can see where the main paths that we're walking on are forming. And that's actually one of the best tools for landscape architects and urban designers to watch, like in the city park, when people take the shortcut, because nobody is walking in the 90-degree, like nobody is going to go like this and like that. You can see in sometimes urban planning, you'll have some, random lines placed as paths, but people actually want to flow more like water and cut the
Yeah.
corner. And so you see the path on the grass, right?
In Dutch,
These are
we
really
call them,
simple. Yeah, the
in Dutch we
desire
call those
lines.
elephant pathways.
Oh, okay, I love that. Elephant pathways.
Yeah,
I love
I
that.
think there is
So I've
a
seen,
whole book about that. Of a photographer who made pictures of all these kinds of, I don't know, I
I love
don't know if
that.
they are mistakes in landscape planning, but it's really interesting to see that.
It is very interesting, and it's a good tool. It's, the the urban designers, landscape architects as well need to go out and study these things and watch how people move through spaces, because so much of how they're designing is based on like an intellectual, conceptual idea with lines and arrows, that they're just drawing basically in the studio, but they're not really understanding how people want to flow and move through these spaces. Where do people like to sit and have a picnic? Where do people, where's the the shortest route from the exit of the subway station to, the main town center, right? Parks are phenomenal, amazing spaces to watch people, and how they move through space. And so I'm actually taking some moments these days to think about, okay, so we're going like this through our pathways in the garden, noticing where some parts are neglected, right? Where like areas that we actually don't walk to. I mean, a lot of it is due to practicality, right? And there could be some other energetic layers there to uncover. Interesting. This corner, is it feeling lonely? Does it need attention, or does it want to stay quiet? Are there any other spaces to be activated with our feet, with our pathways? And noticing also, is it very like joot, 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 back and forth, back and forth, back and forth? Or is there a nice, enjoyable flow around buildings and houses and gardens? Yeah, it depends on the function, depends on the intent of the project. And of course, it depends on the spirit of the land as well. So it's fun. Yeah, I was at the city park, one of my favorite city parks last week. It was an old fairgrounds, and people run around, do jogging around the loop of it, like the exterior periphery of it. And there's some like kind of kitschy, you know, fairground kind of buildings that have, you know, certain archetypal symbols, representations, and there's like a Luna Park with the Ferris wheel and a big fountain and statues. But it's yeah, it's a very there's a very strong energy emitting from that park at certain locations, and it feels like perhaps it's one of the hearts of Izmir downtown that maintain a certain kind of you could say a cleansing circulation, cleansing quality to it. Yeah, yeah, parks are great to watch. Let's go back to the comment that Fenike was saying or clarifying. She says, I feel a difference in this time in brightness and the colors are brighter. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Curious what is, how that's changing your experience of your day-to-day life, noticing the brightness and the colors. So for all the others who are listening in on this conversation, does this resonate with you? What comes forward for you? What arises as we share? Add in the comments, we're curious. Do you have any questions about perhaps places that you will visit this summer? Anything that, you know, any trips that you're taking? Questions about the energy of your home or your garden? Projects that you're working on? Feel free to add in the comments below your question, share your ahas, whatever resonates with you. You know, this, it also, Nikki, I want to add that as we're working on the construction of our home, sometimes it's really important to allow the process to unfold as it needs to unfold, and certain design decisions, you know, decisions about, you know, how to create the door, right? The front gate door, or decisions about, you know, where to place the outdoor dining table area, or, you know, decisions about where to locate certain functions in your garden or in your space, or even if it's a renovation or an interior design project, it's all the same. And what I'm finding works really well with the way I like to flow is that something is done and then I respond to it. And then that influences the decision for another thing. And then it influences the decision for another thing. So what I'm finding is that I do need the time to observe things like the path of flow, of how we're going to move through this garden, you know, based on also function, right, and practicality, as well as allowing the space to reveal itself over time, rather than having all the answers, the design finished right at the beginning, to allow this place to move me, to work me, to reveal clues and information about how best this place can support my family, my son, my husband, and I, and our life. So I think that's really a good teaching, you know, with going through this construction process. Yeah.
I think that is a wise way to approach that. And I just have to think about my first roommate. When I was studying, I lived with a guy who really liked to change the living room every couple of months. So what would happen, I would get home and the whole living room was switched around. And I always had to adjust. I really had to adjust to the whole new flow in the room. But when I look back at it now, with all the knowledge I've gained over the years, of course, it's probably what the place also needed and what we needed. So it could be very well that in this place it will be different from the last space you lived in with your family. Another
Exactly.
example
Yeah.
is the house I grew up in needed radio all day, every day. And the house I live in now, I hardly play any music in the house. So it's always, observe what a space needs, and it could change in time
Yeah.
because you are changing or something in your family is changing or practicalities change. That could also happen. You want to switch your office room with your bedroom because of whatever. And then you have to take again the time, okay, the color still okay, the table needs to be here and this chair or so yeah. Sit down and connect with the space. That's again the most important uh, way to receive the information you need.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it reminds me also of like, I have a need to sometimes control the outcome of what the builders are building, right? And just more and more, I'm kind of going into the flow. Like, okay, I'm going to give them a sketch, going to give them a rough outline. Okay, this is what's good. And then what I've been doing is I've been actually working with trusting, passing that trust over to the builders, and enveloping them in that trust. And also inviting them into play as well. Right? If they're stressed and tired, they're not gonna be building anything that they enjoy to build, or they're also not going to be building anything that will nourish this home, right? And so sometimes when they come with whatever they build, I like, oh, actually that's great, right? Like it's like there's this kind of, oh, okay, yeah, I wasn't totally picturing it that way, but, and then I sit a moment and I tune into it. Now, there are some moments where it's very clear that I have to get them to redo something and put my foot down and adjust things, but there's this openness that I'm stepping more and more into, which is really great. And yeah, that's the power of collaboration and allowing things to unfold. I love that story about how the roommate was just changing everything around, right? And you just it took time for your body to adjust. Yeah, love it. Yeah, and Fenike here says if you change one thing, you change. If you change one thing, you can change everything. I always tell to my clients. Yeah.
And you can already
great.
do that with drawing a symbol on a simple post-it.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be a big design project.
No. You don't have to move walls.
Yeah. I love it. And there was somebody else here that had a comment about the cities. I love the flow of old cities I visit. It's like coming home. What cities in particular have you visited that you enjoy the flow of? I would love to hear if you're open to sharing.
I find that different cities, whether they're old or not, they all have their own kind of flavor.
Yeah.
It's very different if you're in an old city, again in the middle of a country or on the seashore.
On the seashore. Yeah. 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 There is something about the old cities now. Old, of course. How old? You know, let's say if they're medieval. There is a way that they built their streets that were conscious of the underground waterways. And as a result, and I don't think it's just that, they had more of this. I mean, there were certain logistics involved in building the houses next to each other, and there was more consciousness around the geographic conditions, the soil conditions, right? I mean, just thinking like now, you know, there were like, it's so scary too. There are huge, you know, towers and high apartment buildings that were built on very unstable ground here in Izmir, close to the water, you know, and some of them collapsed in not this past earthquake, but an earthquake before, you know. But back then there were, you know, dowsers working to work with the energies of to determine the energies of the underground waterways and ley lines and also fault lines. But what you end up with is a much more kind of organic structuring of the city in terms of its streets, rather than it being a grid. And I'm not saying one is better than the other. I mean, Barcelona is a grid, and it's like one of the most incredible cities. Although I think the older quarters, the more perhaps, yeah, medieval, pre-medieval quarters are not a grid, but it's it really does
also
quality.
triangles, you know. It's also very different.
Which one? Which city?
Paris.
Yeah, Paris. I mean, Paris was also built with golden proportions. It was really well thought out. Very, very, very well thought out. Back then, yeah, it's an incredible city to walk through. Berlin is one of my favorite cities, and it has a rawness to it that I like, and it's a great biking city. You can really experience Berlin well on a bike.
Good to know. It's still on my to-go-to list, Berlin. I haven't been there. I've been told the atmosphere feels similar to Rotterdam for some people. And the explanation they gave me is, I don't know if you know the history, but Rotterdam has been bombed in the Second World War, and there's a lot of new buildings. So
Which city are you talking about?
Rotterdam.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's a lot of, like in Berlin, young artist areas. And because of that, to some people it has a similar kind of taste of the apple, but it's a different kind of apple. And I'm curious, but you know, there's so many more things to discover. But Berlin is still on my list.
Berlin, because of that aspect, there's a lot of new architecture, contemporary art, people doing some very cutting edge, artists doing a lot of cutting edge work, and I like the juxtaposition of this new work with the older structure of the city. Yeah.
How did you experience the the energetics of the Berlin Wall in that town.
Sorry, the energetic, which one?
The energetics of the Berlin Wall.
Yeah, the energetics of the Berlin Wall. Absolutely, I felt it in many locations for sure. Yeah, I mean, I've even felt it, through, in the walls of some of the old buildings that I stayed in when I was there. You can still see bullet holes on the walls there in some of the old buildings. Yeah, the wall for sure. Wow, the Berlin Wall, what an energetic, huh? Yeah, you can definitely see distinctions between the East and West when you are walking or riding your bike along that path. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing some tuning exercises with Checkpoint Charlie. There are some pictures online and on Google Maps.
Yeah. So there's some cities here. Are we talking about cities that are in Holland?
Yes, most of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I live in Alkmaar, and I find Alkmaar totally different from Maastricht. It's a totally different kind of vibe here up in the north, depending on Maastricht. And Delft, I don't know Delft very well. And Brielle, I think it's Belgium.
Oh, okay. And Brielle?
I have not been there. I think it's Belgium.
Okay. Yeah, because it
thought.
sounds, it has more French. Yeah, or Flemish. Yeah. Amazing. Well, I think this is a great, it's time to travel, people. It's time to visit these places and to enjoy. We're going to Canada to be with my family, my parents. So I can already start to feel memories coming forward. It's interesting as I prepare to, as the days approach, the day approaches for us to fly over. It's interesting. I've never really noticed this before, but memories from my childhood in Canada or memories from past visits are coming into my field. It's like Canada is already speaking to me. Ontario is already speaking to me even before I set foot on the territory. Yeah.
I spoke to a friend yesterday, and he told me that he was visiting all the houses his dad lived in Amsterdam. And he could actually, while he was standing watching the houses, because they are still there, memories came up from when he was 3 years old. And it's like some kind of drawer gets opened in your brain somewhere, and it's still there. And he just needed the trigger. In this case, it was the house, just to let those memories flow back into his brain. So yeah, that works too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just space and spaces really do activate the unconscious, subconscious, our shadows, memories, and really influence us, really do influence us. And I think just the work that we're doing, Nicky, I think is really important to start bringing the consciousness back into placemaking. Whether you are placemaking through your consciousness, through your awareness of your space, or if you are actually building a new community or a new home, whatever that is, it's still placemaking. And being conscious first of where you're building or where you're creating your home, your space, and then transforming it so that it supports your soul's desires, your dreams, your goals, your visions. and helps you to really step into the life that you're meant to live on this earth, the one that your soul said, I'm ready, I want to do this, that's why I'm coming into this planet.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And you can practice everywhere. You know, space is everywhere.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need to go to this very special sacred space all the way across the globe.
Yeah.
It is nice to do that, yes, of course, but you can also do it around the corner away from your home. So don't hesitate to practice any moment you think of, and just tune into the space and use it as play, as exercise, and you will get better.
Love it. Well, Nicky, thanks again for this great conversation, and I wish you an amazing summer vacation. Do you have any travel plans?
Yes, I'm going to meet up with some friends who live in Spain, and we're meeting up in France, and with other friends from the south of the Netherlands. So we are with
Beautiful.
3 families coming together, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Amazing. Nice. Well, I look forward to seeing some photos here and there, and otherwise, have fun. Have a great summer. And to all of you, have a great summer, and we'll be back at the beginning of fall, I think, was it?
Yeah, I don't know the date by
continue
heart,
our
but somewhere in September we're back, and we'll send you an email and update our socials when we are back. And hope you'll join us, of course. And you too, have a lovely summer. Enjoy your family in Canada, and
Thank you
come
so
back
much.
safe.
Yeah, thank you. All right, see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Happy summer, everybody. Bye.